Welcome back to View from Brussels. My name is Brandy Miller. Today in the studio, I'm joined by one of the leading voices on gender equality in the EU, MEP Lina Gálvez. Lina, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for the invitation.
I'd like to jump a bit more into current topics right now. A number of your colleagues in the Committee on Gender Equality have expressed concern about the EU engaging with the Taliban, which is a de facto recognition of them. How do you view these concerns?
Where I expressed very openly my concerns at the last Gender Equality Committee. That was exactly the same day the Taliban delegation came to Brussels. And the day after, I went to the commission and I openly said again, this is inadmissible, absolutely inadmissible. This is a crime to have been invited here. It is a sign of how transactional is the world becoming and how much the European Union is adapting to that new world. I mean, we cannot say we are for democracy, that our core values are not only to be implemented within the European Union, but also in our external action, and then have a Taliban delegation to be received or be received here in Brussels. This is nonsense. I mean, this is, you can say one day, or equality, we define women's rights, is our core value for union, and then to invite theoretical to a technical meeting, a Taliban delegation. This is not technical, this is political, and this is unacceptable.
And on that, with regards to women's rights and gender equality, how do you view it, I guess, coinciding with what the EU is trying to achieve domestically?
It's a contradiction. I mean, but it is not only the now what we are even domestically we are having struggled to advance because there is a very strong anti-gender movement. It is international, but it is operating also in the European Union. It is starting to get into the institutions, including, of course, the European Parliament, where we have 1/3 of the chamber that does not believe in the very same idea of equality, does not believe in gender equality. Of course, they even don't accept the term gender. And then there is another part of the chamber that sometimes vote with them. So we have in front of us a real backlash, and we are really the defenders of human rights and women's rights and gender equality. We are having a hard time right now.
Yeah, I'd like to unpack a bit of that hard time that the EU is having, especially with these mixed signals now. The EU Pay Transparency Directive was meant to be implemented earlier this month, namely on June 7th, though we're seeing some member states starting to miss that deadline or postpone that deadline a bit internally. What is that actually telling us about the priority given to equal pay within the EU?
Well, equal pay is enshrined in our treaties. It is already from the Treaty of Rome, so it is nothing new. It is something very basic from in the idea from which we built the European Union. So it's nothing new or anything. It's just that we did not achieve it, and still we have almost 12% of our pay gap as an average within the European Union. If we take weekly, we take yearly, we take along our life cycle, the gap is very huge and sometimes arrive to 40% when we are talking about pension gap. So we are taking about something very seriously because this is attempting against equality, the principle of equality, even I would say the idea of competitiveness and competition within the labor market. But also with the idea that a person should be autonomous and in order to take their own decisions. And if you are not paid as you deserve to be paid at the end, there is a lot of possibilities. You could either abandon the labor market or just not get enough money to be autonomous or for you or your family. So we are talking about a very serious issue, but there is it has always been a lot of
Resistance. Yes.
resistant, especially businesses, because they think this is bureaucracy. I always say that democracy is not bureaucracy, and this is a question also of democracy, even to competitiveness and everything, as I said before. And the original position the council that is represented the different member state had was that should be implemented only to companies over 250 employees.
Mhm.
And it was a position of my group, the S&D Socialists and Democrats, to push very hard for that to be lower. We wanted obviously zero, and for that obviously you have to help a smaller business, small and medium sized enterprises in order to achieve those compromises. And now it's in 100. And it is not that it is affecting very small companies, whatever. And but still there is, a lot of resistance, because at the end we are talking about transparency,
Mhm.
and not everyone likes transparency.
And apart from businesses, do you see resistance coming elsewhere?
Of course, there is resistance in political parties. The either the ones that don't believe in equality, as I said before, or the far right. They just don't believe in the very same idea of equality, the idea we are equal. And also there is a resistance also in the center right, because they are now with this mood of simplification, which simplification is good, but to simplify, just not allowing people to know what a person that it is doing the same job you are doing is earning.
Mhm.
This is not very democratic. And I think, I insist, it's not very efficient from an economic point of view, because now we are short of talent. And there are 10 more million women than men in the European Union. And we are the majority among the people with a university degree.
Mhm.
So we really need to take the best of our talent. And the best way is to treat um, with a with a decent job and a decent
Well,
wage women too.
I want to speak a bit further now about the Commission's new gender equality strategy, which was presented in March. Do you see Europe keeping pace with the challenges women face about equality a bit more writ large?
So the gender equality strategy, I have to say, is a very important achievement for the moment we are having in mind all this gender backlash
Hmm.
movement, all these forces, as just said, they are really against the very same idea of equality. They don't want any regulation or anything, strategy or any policy for equality at all. They are asking for the right of women to go back home. So that is the situation we have. They are attacking sexual and reproductive health rights and even to have a gender-based violence or everything. They are
Yes.
attacking absolutely everything. So in that situation, it's good to have that strategy that it is very comprehensive. However, it is a lack of regulation ambition, and it is very much focused on implementation, which is good because we have very good legislation, especially from the past term, but we still need to go a bit farther, for instance, on consent-based legislation regarding
Mhm.
making non-consent sex
As well.
rape, or to have recognition as a Euro crime, gender-based violence, or to advance on sexual and reproductive health rights. And so there are a few things that we still need to advance in legally binding legislation, and probably is lacking this ambition. And another thing, if I may, that it is there, but then it is not fully developed later on because it's very difficult. It's not. I'm not blaming the commission for it completely, or at least the part that has promoted gender equality strategy is mainstreaming. In order we really not only develop very good legislation on gender equality, but we bring equality to all legislation that we can really make a change. We really need to move on mainstreaming, and theoretically it is included, but then in practice it is not always the case. We have a legislation still coming to Parliament from the Commission that has not this gender mainstreaming on it. And if it has not this gender mainstreaming on it, it is very difficult later on in Parliament to include it, is what we do also from the FAM committee. But we not always have opinion in other committee legislation if there is this vision is not coming already from the Commission. And this is especially difficult when dealing with the multi-annual financial framework, that it is including, indeed, is good, it is including gender equality as a horizontal principle, with environmental and biodiversity, and with social. There are the three horizontal principles that are included. But while the other two have a minimum spending target, when it comes to gender equality, they are not a minimum percentage spending target. So it is a horizontal principle, but the way to enforce it, it is not as strong as in the other two horizontal principle. Or there is a principle of do not significant harm principle, that it is applied to the other two horizontal principles, but not to gender equality. So it is good. It is a horizontal principle, but it's like second-class horizontal principle. Is that what I mean? That it is the design is very good, but then sometimes it's really difficult to implement, because we really still need to 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 really develop this mainstreaming. And probably not all institutions or all the, of course, including Parliament, are prepared for this real gender mainstreaming exercise, and it's there what we have to go for.
So would you say that Europe is still treating it as a social issue versus an economic issue?
Still, yes, more, yes, in this case, yes, because when we are talking about competitiveness, that it is like one of the most important topic now.
Absolutely.
This aspect is not coming out. In fact, we are asking now for a study to ask how gender equality, or much better gender equality, could bring to this competitiveness.
Yeah.
And we are introducing, of course, I'm one of the rapporteurs of the FP10, the new Research and Innovation Framework Program, which is linked to the Competitiveness Fund, and there are including, but it has not to be only a question the MEPs with some special sensitivity are in the right places. It should be something more horizontal and coming from the design of the legislation. And obviously, we need all actors involved, including business, unions, and everyone, media,
Yes.
involved on pushing towards the same place, which is with this idea that more gender equality, it is not only good for women, but it will be also very good for our societies and our economy.
Yes,
And our democracy.
and our democracy, because on the other side of the coin, and we could take examples such as paternity leave. There's a lot that we could unpack, but given that we're short on time, I do want to focus just on a couple elements. For example, the EU has minimum standards on paternity leave, which supports as well the female, the wife, or partner in that situation to raise a family. Do you think the EU is still embracing paternity leave as a cultural phenomena that is yet to spread equally across the member states, and that there's still some mindset shifts that need to happen?
Well, in the World Life Balance Directive, we have paternity leave and parental leave. And the paternity leave is just thinking on normally on fathers, and it's only 10 days. This is really my point of view is very limited. And then the parental leave, there are only 2 months you cannot transfer. And I think it's not that I think there are a lot of studies supporting that you need maternity and paternity leave, that it is long enough, that it is non-transferable, and it is fully paid. Unless these three conditions are working together, normally it will continue to be mainly women
Mhm.
taking this leave. So, and we need men to get into care, also the culture of care, also for long-term care for elderly people, because we are a continent that it is aging, and normally we know that the way men get into this culture, to really to acknowledge how important it is through babies' care. I mean,
Mhm.
their own son daughters' cares. So it is very important, and it will be the only way, unless we have a more equal care, share of caring hours and responsibilities. It will be very difficult, very, 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 very difficult. We have a good an equal labor market. And just one more thing, and this
Mhm.
is something very important for my group, for the Socialists and Democrats, is social services, because social services are another important key element, core element in this picture. Unless you have a good social services that help and provide that care, good education with health as well, it will be very difficult that these equality measures will really reach the whole population and not only one part of the population. And we really need that to be very as much universal as possible.
So, on that, what would you say is Europe's biggest blind spot about achieving gender equality today?
I think it's well, as if you look to the whole picture, still we are still living in a patriarchal society with patriarchal institutions, with patriarchal culture, with patriarchal languages and everything. So, but this is too broad. If I have to focus on something, probably is it would be very good to advance on this a real core deal where care is considered real economic activity as well. And for that, you need, as I say, good paternity and maternity leave, but you need also a labor market that works
Mm.
well, so without discrimination. And you need as well a very good social services, and for that you need a fiscality that is progressive. So it's a kind of
It's a chain
is
reaction
the
as
is
well.
yes is you can say, well, I am for equality, yes, and but then don't support good good services. And you can say, well, I support services without supporting a progressive fiscality. So it's all together. Or you can say, yeah, equality, but I don't want the directive on pay transparency to be implemented.
Mhm.
So you really need, if you said you believe in a principle, you really need to make possible the tools, the regulation, the expenditure, the political priorities that will make that goal a reality and not only a slogan.
And I do have one last question, but we'll keep it short because we're running out of time. If you are looking at young women today, what do you think that they should have in terms of confidence and hope for what their future could look like within the EU?
I think they should get involved in politics. I'm not saying that they all should become, I mean, a MEP or a deputy. No, I'm not saying that. I think we have something very important from feminism. It's a very nice slogan that says the personal is political. They really need to know that for us, personal is political. So they really need to be aware of that all the decisions they are taking could have also long-term consequences. If they decided not to get into the labor market because they want to raise their children, fine, but they need to know that probably in the future this marriage or whatever it is could not work, and she will be without
Mhm.
experience and without getting to labor market, without having economic independence, economic autonomy to be independent, to live a decent life. So they really need to think for themselves and really don't listen or to listen to all this gender backlash and to combat it. They really need to be aware that what they are living today has not always been like this. It
Mhm.
has been a lot of fight in order to achieve it. But it is not impossible to lose it. So my pray for them. I have also a very young daughter. Is to fight for the rights and to fight for gender equality, because this is not a
It's not a
natural
given.
issue.
Yeah.
It is something, unfortunately, we still need to fight. So I count with them, and I'm sure they can count with me on that fight.
Thank you so much, Lena. This was a wonderful conversation. I look forward to hopefully having you back in the near future.
Anytime you want.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
thank you to our viewers. Please comment, like, and subscribe.